Okay, so this fascinating Friends in the Wild is subtly an A to Z, very subtly, because I haven't sort of said it's A for whatever animal and B for whatever animal, but it takes you on a journey from A to Z on rare and endangered species of animals. So you have, say, there's an, even the illustrations are kind of, you have the A in the background, but that's a subtle messaging to parents. So it's not really, I wanted to make the book not A for apple, B for whatever, the normal run of the mill things. It is an A to Z on strange and endangered species of animals, and it takes you on a journey into the lives of those animals, their habitat, why they are endangered, where they are found, and what they're all about. So it's really about that. So say you got D for Dendrogamma, you have E for Echidna, you have F for a really strange creature called the fried egg jellyfish, you have G for Gerenuk, which is a kind of a deer with a really long neck, so it's a blend of a deer and a giraffe. And then there's H for the biggest beetle, which is the Hercules beetle. And then I for a little better known animal, which is the iguana. Then you have a really strange creature which comes with J, which is the Jesus Christ lizard, and so on and so forth. So it goes on till Z, but the Z doesn't end at an animal. The Z leaves you with a question as to where else can you go from here, and what are the animals that the reader can discover with the letter Z. So, and that's what this book is all about, and I hope to engage young minds and young children with it. Couple of reasons mainly. I am very passionately involved with wildlife and the environment and protection of all species of animals. That of course is one. So the messaging in the book through its content comes out very clear about saving the animals. But the other reason was really because of my grandchildren. I felt that they just didn't know enough about wildlife. They didn't have what it takes to go out there and really research on animals. They all know about the tigers and rhinos and elephants and deer and rabbit and all of that. I wanted kids to have an interest in animals beyond just the ordinary ones, because the ordinary ones we all know about, but there is so much out there which is just not available to us. We don't even know about it. I didn't know about it. So my research started out because I wanted to share these stories of unknown, endangered species of animals with my own grandchildren, for the simple reason that I feel that it's important for them to know that the world contains so much more. Actually, my reasons for choosing verse are literally that. Children react to rhyme. It's easier for them to pick up, it's easier for them to remember, and it's a great way of connecting because in rhyme, you can get to the heart of the matter very quickly. You don't have to go into paragraphs of written written words and things like that. With rhyme, you can just be concise, to the point, and get your point across. And so I'm now going to read one of the more popular ones from the book, and that is about the Jesus Christ lizard. Now, the Jesus Christ lizard is actually also the scientific name for it is the basilisk lizard, but the common name is the Jesus Christ lizard. So I'm going to read about why Jesus Christ lizard is what everybody asks. So okay, I'm going to tell you why Jesus Christ lizard. A lizard named Jesus Christ. Why is that? Does he have a beard like Jesus had? They are weird little lizards with a big nickname, but there is indeed a good reason for its fame. Though they don't have beards, they have magic in their feet. They can run on top of water, and that's really neat. They look spellbinding when they skim over the water. And though they are not Jesus Christ, that really doesn't matter. Smart and wily, they escape very fast, away from their enemies so that they don't come last. They live in the jungles of South America somewhere, but if you want to find them, you will need to venture there. This funny looking lizard doesn't have many friends, but that's not the way this story ends. So won't you open up your heart and invite him inside? It's only in a heart that big that this lizard can hide. And that's the way every poem ends, because the messaging is that you need to love all of God's creatures. And if you open up your hearts, that is the way you will actually be prompted to save nature and to look at conservation from a compassionate and empathetic point of view. Okay, so my idea was basically to base this book at the age group from say 4 plus to about 8 plus, and I find that even 9 and 10-year-olds are really reacting to it. And the illustrations which were done by Karam Rai Mehra, who is also incidentally happens to be my son, so this is really a family production. We tried to make them as child friendly as possible and also as near to the real animal as possible. And there my publishers played a great part. World Wildlife Fund, who has published this book, played a very engaging and engaged role with the publication, with the illustrations as well, for the simple reason that every time we would go do our research, we would take the actual animal and Karam would illustrate it. It would then go back to WWF to make sure that it was as authentic while retaining its child-friendly nature. So on the cover we have what is called the leafy sea dragon. So it's the illustrations are all done in color pencils. So they're all color pencil illustrations. But if you see the actual animal, they are as close to the natural colors of the animal while being in a manner that is child friendly. Actually, of course, I find that the rhymes engage them immediately and they are fascinated by the illustrations. But one of the most amazing questions that I often get asked are that, are all these real? Because I mean, there is the odd animal that kids have heard of. I mean, like most of them are aware of the iguana. And the idea was not to put all animals that nobody's heard of. I also wanted to put in a few that kids did relate to. So the platypus is one that kids relate to. The yak is another one that kids relate to. But it's also because the other animals with Y were not that fascinating or easy to write about. So that is one. But the other thing is that a lot of the kids, in fact, almost at every session that I've had, kids have asked me that, are these real? And I'm like, yes, they are real. And I don't have the imagination to make up so many animals, though I wish I did, but no, they are absolutely real. Then the next question I get asked is, have you seen all of them? And unfortunately, I haven't. And I hope, I tell the kids that I hope you will be able to see them, because if their habitat lasts and the wilds are not endangered and the seas don't get polluted, then yes, you will perhaps be able to go out there into the world one day and explore and see these animals for yourself. So with parents, teachers and librarians, a great way of using this book would be to, of course, read with their kids and create that bond which reading with kids always does create. But the other thing is also the parents need to also understand the messaging, as do librarians and teachers, the greater messaging behind the book, which is about conservation, about preservation, about, you know, loving all creatures unconditionally and making space for everything in the world, creating that, striking that right balance. You take the poem as a baseline, you go on into researching the habitat, their habits, why is it endangered, why in that specific area, what can you do to make sure that it remains intact, what are its food habits, what do the young look like, you know. So all of that, it's just a learning experience, not just for the kid, it's a learning experience for many parents, it's a learning experience for the librarians, and it's a great opportunity for teachers to expand on their horizons for nature, you know, just the very aspect of nature and wildlife and forests and rivers and jungles and seas, all of that. So it's a learning experience for everybody, and it's meant to harmonize, to expand your minds, and to also go out there and really get in-depth knowledge about each of these animals, and through that others that you still don't know about, because when you're doing this research you will discover hundreds more, and that really is the aim of this book.